Do you expect... Got to have a media question. Do you expect a public backlash if there is media focus on fringe groups?
I really do genuinely believe that the media this year understands the significance of this demonstration compared to a Gay Pride Freedom Day parade, which is indeed a celebration, our Mardi Gras. I've often thought that I would do a tape called The Heterosexual Agenda and show pictures of how you all dress up at football games, you know, with the pig ears and, and the painted faces. And it's not pretty. I don't want them to teach my children. I think, and I really have a deep sense this time, that the media understands that this march is in the caliber and of the significance of the 1963 Civil Rights March. I have seen no examples of except of positive journalism, even at times when I disagree with it. I think there will be isolated cases of where the more creative lifestyles will be highlighted. But I think overall what the American people will see this week in the coverage of this march is 1 million people from all walks of life, many of them in very frail health, many of them coming here with their life savings, who are walking up that avenue with a great deal of dignity and integrity for the first time in their lives. And I think that's what they're going to see, and I think that's what you're going to cover, because that's what it is.
I have a Washington Redskins pig snout at home. But I only wear it at home. Now, there were a number of questions in this area, a little more seriously. Has the President explained to you why he felt the need to get out of town this weekend and just send a letter to the rally?
I don't think there is an explanation. You know, it's been sort of interesting. The stronger this march has grown, the greater the evacuation from this town of politicians has been. I think there were probably more politicians in this town after the British burned it down in 1812 than there's going to be this weekend. No, he hasn't. And I find it sad. And not only for the President, but for the Congress. You don't have to agree with us to hear our grievances. And we do indeed have 1 million people coming to this city to present a grievance of what we consider a great injustice. And I think our elected officials deserve us the respect and the courtesy to be here, at least present in the city, to accept our petition for freedom. And I find it indeed very sad that they feel it necessary to leave and that they don't have the courage to stay in town.
Put another way, how has your friendship with the President fared since January? Following the intro, do you still have his ear?
I thought the ears were in your bedroom. I think you have to ask the President what regard he holds me in and how he feels these days. You know, I approach this administration that I hope a lot of people approach the same way, as a place that we can celebrate diversity and ideas. And that one should not be afraid to speak what one perceives to either be an interesting idea or something that would be helpful to the nation, or even helpful to this administration, to point them in a direction that will yield a better country. I don't intend to be silent. We've come too far. You see, I've been silent all my life about who I am. I'm celebrating for the first time being able to stand up here and speak how I feel as an openly gay person. This is the last time in the world that I could dream that I'd want to be silent about what I feel and who I am and where we're going, because I have lied and deceived so many people who I love dearly. And it's time for me to end that. And there's no question that after my Nightline appearance that people were angry with me in the White House. Some were proud of me. And but my understanding is that the President understood I did what I had to do because my first responsibility is to this community, and I intend to live up to that responsibility. We had a time of great celebration when President Clinton was elected. He is indeed the best president that this community has ever had in its history. There is no question about that. But this is a time where we can make great leaps forward that's going to require great vision and leadership on his part. And it's going to require him to be a moral force to help educate this nation, the Congress, and the military, that by integrating us into the military, by the passage of a civil rights bill, and accepting our talents and skills as a citizen, indeed will make this nation stronger. And so, I mean, I have no choice but to speak and to call it as I see it. My sister was surprised it took me as long as 4 months into the administration to do this. But I intend to continue to do so as constructively and as positively in the spirit of nonviolence that I can.
Organized labor and organized religion marched in Selma and helped pass the Civil Rights Bill. Will both be in this march this weekend?
Absolutely. In fact, it's probably the broadest coalition in our history. We have numerous national unions marching side by side. We have the Jewish Federation, the United Jewish Congress, Jewish Appeal, the United Church of Christ, the Presbyterian Church, Methodist Church leaders all marching side by side with us. It is the NAACP and the Civil Rights Coalition for the first time will be having a delegation of people. The Miami Beach Police Department. There's 3 or 4 lesbians and gays in that outfit, and the whole department voted to send their off-duty officers up here to march with them in this parade in uniform.
What do people like yourself, establishment types, offer the movement that it didn't have before? What is gained and lost by the mainstreaming of the movement?
Just as I want the President and the Congress to accept a diverse society, I would like my own brothers and sisters to accept a diverse society. All of us are needed. There is no right way and there is no wrong way. Many times, some of the successes that those of us, quote unquote, in the establishment have had came as a result of ACT UP demonstrations. We would not have been successful. We would not have been successful at many times in the Clinton campaign if it hadn't been for the threat of those demonstrations. And many, many times, some of the victories that we've achieved in the FDA, and legislation in Congress and in many state legislators and raising money to defeat initiatives have benefited members of ACT UP. We can't do without each other. We need each other, and we have to celebrate the diversity. And that's what makes the movement. From the top, from the bottom, from the side, east, west, north, south, from all directions we meet in the center and we have a movement. And I think that's what's happening, and I've never felt more comfortable in my life than we've had the unity that we've had in this movement. Than we've had in the last year.
This is the first national action which has included bisexuals in the name and bi and trans people in the march's demands. What are you doing to help the administration expand their definition of sexual minorities to be more inclusive of all sexual minorities?
Position papers that have been forwarded to me personally by a number of different constituencies, including the communities that you mentioned, have been forwarded to the appropriate people in the administration asked to be taken in very serious consideration. We have developed, especially in the health crisis, where there are especially unique health issues to different communities and so forth, direct access so that those unique aspects of health issues can be dealt with. And most important, we're working side by side and marching side by side to show that we are indeed a community together, one and all for one and one for all. And that's most important, that we're not marching separately.